but you are here for the Go for the Gold training. This is a bit more of a how-to claim your GuideStar profile, in addition to getting badges of honor of transparency through Candid. When we're done, you should be able to do all of these beautiful things. But I think before we get into that, I want to just frame this. Why are we doing this? There are a few different reasons. So one, the gold seal or once you've received the gold seal through GuideStar, organizations that have budgets under $1 million will have access to the foundation directory online for free. Now, the asterisk to that is all organizations in our region have access to foundation directory online at COACT during COACT's open business hours. But for those of you where that doesn't align with your schedule, this is a really great opportunity. Also, there's a bit of research that links earning this seal of transparency to an increase in contributions for nonprofits. So that's a good reason. Also, these seals give funders or potential funders a little bit of insight into your organization. So it can help them to make more educated grant giving decisions. It's easy, it's free to earn them. So hopefully by next week, all of you will reach out to us, let us know what level seal you have obtained. And also, this is my own personal motivation for being excited about suggesting you do this and helping to guide you through it. It's just a good practice to go through all of the information that it takes to obtain these various levels of transparency, just to make sure that you as an organization are ready for whatever those opportunities are that may come your way, right? Throughout the sessions, my motto has been, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. In addition to one of my other favorite mottos, follow directions. And two, if you've seen one foundation, you've seen one foundation. All right. So this is how you can use the Candid profile to demonstrate your credibility, right? This is just a little example commercial from Candid that they shared. All right, so on the next slide, how is it that funders potentially use these Candid profiles? So if a funder gets your letter of interest or your proposal and they want to learn a little bit more about your work, one of the steps that they might take in part of their due diligence would be to research your credibility, your financial stability, and impact. Now, some organizations will go straight to your website, some will pick up the phone, but often when doing this due diligence, they'll check out an organization's Candid profile. So some of you, by show of hands, I know at least 2 of you, 3 of you have seen your organization's Candid profile. But if your organization has ever filed a 990, chances are good that whether you have done the work or not, your organization has a Candid profile. So a Candid profile isn't something that you have to put up there, but once it's up there, the onus is on your organization to make sure that it's updated and accurate. So you can use that profile, claim it, and use it as a tool to grow your nonprofit's credibility and help to enhance that online presence so that when funders are searching through Candid or through GuideStar, they're getting the information that you want them to see. So one part of your grant seeking plan, I think, should be to claim it, update it. It's free, it's easy. Whether or not funders actively seek it out, it's a good practice. The profiles can go well beyond IRS data. So just because Candid you'll hear me use Candid and GuideStar interchangeably. GuideStar and the foundation directory online have rolled up underneath the Candid umbrella. So I hope I don't confuse anybody when I'm saying GuideStar, Candid interchangeably. GuideStar is part of Candid's umbrella. So while the IRS data is pulled into GuideStar by Candid, the opportunity to include additional information is there. So, help add to that information by seeking these seals of transparency, because it just gives more information and validates the credibility of your organization. Okay, so as you go in to complete your profile, you have the opportunity to earn these seals of transparency. And these little squares will give quick visual keys to indicate that you've filled in really important information in your nonprofit profile. And each level gives you better insight, will give funders better insight into your work and help you to stand apart from other nonprofits, right? You know, funders who are familiar with your work aren't going to go here to look for stuff. They might, if somebody on their board says, well, are they certified or do they have a seal of transparency? They might go to just double check it. But as donor advised funds, for example, are saying to their investment partners, hey, who's doing work in child welfare in the city of Detroit? They may do a search through GuideStar and pull together lists from which their donors could be making decisions, right? These could be things totally independent of your specific outreach. All right, so the amount of information that you provide in Candid, in GuideStar will help determine which of these 4 seals you earn, right? So the Platinum Transparency Seal, here handily outlined in orange, is the highest level that you can earn. And so in order to achieve that level, you're going to have to share all of the information they build on each other, right? So you can't get to silver without achieving bronze. You can't get to gold without achieving silver, and so on. To learn more, I'm going to just put this link in the chat. This will give you the details at each level. We're going to go through them a little bit more in depth here, but now you got a link there. Okay, so as I said a little bit earlier, before getting to start the work on these seals of transparency, Mr. M in the next slide, you're first going to have to claim your profile. So this is basically showing funders or those that are seeking you that you are a legitimate 501c3 organization. In order to prove this through Candid or through GuideStar, there are 2 ways you can do it. So first, share with them the IRS determination letter, or if you are sponsored by another organization, provide your IRS EIN and then a letter from the sponsoring organization. And there on this slide and also on the Candid website, there's detailed information about what they'll accept for that. You pull that together, you email it to Get Listed, and once that information is sent to them, they, Candid and GuideStar, go through the information once a week, and I think it's Monday morning they update it. So once a week, they're updating organizations' information in GuideStar. All right, so just a point of clarification, creating a user account in GuideStar and creating your profile are 2 separate processes, right? So your organization probably already has a profile, but you as individual stewards at your organization have to create a user profile. So putting your email on GuideStar just makes that user account for you so that you can access GuideStar. It does not create a profile if you're a nonprofit. I know this slide is probably really small and a little bit impossible to see, but I'll drop a link in here for where you go to create your own personal profile. Really easy. Just your name, organization, email. I like to suggest that instead of using a personal email, don't use a Gmail, use your organization's email account. All right. Anybody have any questions so far? The next few slides, we're going to go through what needs to happen in order to get these seals. But I just want to take a minute, a temperature check, see if everybody's in the class they thought they were in, answer any questions, take a sip of my coffee.
Hi, Trish. I have a quick question. Would you only recommend making a Candid profile?
Yes.
Because like my org, we're fiscally sponsored through a C3. So I think Allied Media already has a Candid profile. So does it make sense for us who only has that status through our fiduciary to make a Candid account?
I think you should make one as a user anyway.
Okay, cool.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for the question. I think it's fun to get nosy in there, if for no other reason. All right, so we earn these in order, right? First bronze, then silver, then gold, and platinum. You can't skip straight to platinum. You've got to go in order. So first up, we're going to start with the bronze. In order to get this, it should take you legit 5 minutes, right? So like no reason not to do this. So in addition to uh, the obvious benefit of being findable by prospective donors, organizations who are bronze certified are eligible for accepting donations through Apple Pay. I think a legitimate next question for any of you to ask me is, what are the benefits of using Apple Pay? And I don't know. I didn't look that up. I just know that it's a benefit if your organization's looking for a way to accept donations. I know that Apple Pay can be a convenient way to do it. I'm team Android over here, so I can't add much more context, but that's a benefit. Okay, so as you're going through the various prompts to fill out this information, as always, it's critical that you follow directions. So when it asks for something like your organization's name, make sure that it matches your IRS determination letter. There will be opportunities for you to include like doing business as or also known as, but just be very clear, double check your spelling. Um, uh, and make sure to save your information prior to advancing to the next section or before you click publish. I think it's important to note, even when you do click publish on this information, you can always edit the information that's input. It can take 24 up to 72 hours for that information to publish. But just know that it will go live sometime soon. You can always change it if you have to. Under donation information, you'll be prompted to put information about where folks can make donations to your organization. I think that's pretty handy. I think it might link to Facebook donations also. Your mileage may vary. When thinking about entering your mission statement, there is a character limit, and I'm not familiar with what it is currently. I know that they do publish it on the website. Just make sure that your mission statement fits and that it hasn't awkwardly cut off when you've copied and pasted from wherever you're copying and pasting the information. Also for category, there is a list from which to choose, and you can pick up to 5 categories. There is an entire subsite within the Candid portal universe website dedicated to taxonomy. It is deep and wide and far-reaching with different ways that organizations can categorize their work. It could be a fun group exercise to get to the right 5 categories that you choose to label the work that you're doing. I think that's it. Your leaders' names, that's pretty obvious. All right, so that's bronze. Easy peasy. Anybody think it's doable? Any concerns with the potential for earning your bronze certification? Trinity, it just occurred to me, your organization, if it is fiscally sponsored by another organization, you too should have your organization's own Candid profile. So the distinction that I was making earlier on the information that's required to claim your own profile is you would just need a letter from that sponsoring organization and your financials or your organization's employee identification number to claim that profile for your organization, independent of your sponsoring organization.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to probably do my own research too around that, because from my understanding, or at least like when I apply for grants, like we always use our fiduciary's EIN number. So
Got it.
that's why I was just like, oh, I don't want to like conflate the information. because especially if they already have a candidate profile, then so yeah, that's the only thing I'm thinking about. But I can definitely, like, our fiduciary has a good development and finance team that kind of helps us answer those questions. Because I agree, I think it does make sense for us to still have our own account, to just like strengthen our visibility.
Excellent. All right, so silver. You can't do this again until you've earned the bronze. And it might take, I don't know, twice as long to gather and input the information for this. So plan on a whopping 10 minutes to do this. But one of the benefits I think of having a distinct benefit of having a silver seal versus the bronze is that your organization is going to have just a little bit more information to help funders guide their decision making, right? So do any of you make grants? Any of your organizations grant makers? I don't think so, just by eyeball. Oh yeah, Mike Smith, Investory. Okay, so you will have the opportunity to indicate yes that you're a grant maker. For grant making organizations, you will have to input some additional information about the type of organization, kind of organizations you fund, support strategies, all kinds of other grant maker specific details.
And that's even if it's not, like, we don't invite public grant making. It's through special processes.
Yep, and it'll prompt you to include that, right? What are your application policies? So a lot of grant makers on GuideStar don't accept open calls, right? Invitations only or formal application required, right? Like they'll prompt you through it. And if you get into that process and you're like, yeah, this doesn't really apply, just go back and click, no, we don't make grants. there's my very official workaround. All right, so now you've got silver, you are ready to go for the gold. And I would say the differentiator here is that once you've put in the precursor information, now you're just adding another layer of trust within the community and hopefully provide an opportunity to deepen engagement. So getting this information together and uploaded should take maybe 15 minutes. So again, not a giant investment of time, especially if you already have this information readily accessible. And if you don't, again, it's a good practice to get it together. So at this level, there are some, in addition to everything that's listed out here on the slide, there are some optional fields that you can input information into. And I think they're always good to provide that information. The more searchable fields that you fill out, the more information and transparency our potential funders and partners also have for us. And so in addition to what you see on this slide, those will include things like, who are you serving? What are your revenues from program services? Do you get membership dues? Any of those earned revenue line items? Other expenses, right? This is a little bit more deeply transparent around your finances. And for Mike, if he is a yes on the grant making, they'll ask for your total giving, just as a call out there. The leadership demographics is relatively new hunk of information that Candid and GuideStar are looking for. I think it's really great that organizations are providing this information. I am also building the case for our foundation partners to add this information into their profiles. I think that's going to be the next level. But I just dropped a link to a survey. In the leadership demographics section, there is a survey that was put together in partnership with Candid and an organization called Change Philanthropy. Have a look. There's some information in that link there with a guide on how to administer this survey to get the information that's required or that's helpful. I mean, you might be able to make some educated guesses. Your leadership may be just you and 3 board members, but I think looking at this survey and also looking at Change Philanthropy, I just found was particularly interesting. All right, so this next slide is a commercial slide. I think there's more to it, Asteria. You're probably going to have to hit your space bar to expose it. But this is the commercial for Candid. I already teased it a little bit earlier, but for our small organizations, the Go for the Gold promotion, there's even more there. Asteria, I can't tell because my slide's teeny weeny on the other side. I know that it says this promotion's good through 2022. It's actually good through the end of December of this year. So again, small organizations with budgets up to $1 million, you go for the gold, you get a free 1-year subscription to the Foundation Directory Online Essential. I think that Candid is looking at making this a permanent thing, but just in case that doesn't happen for whatever reason, claim your transparency badges, go for the gold, make it happen and get that free access. All right, the final seal of transparency that you can get is the Platinum Seal. As one might expect, the requirements are a little bit more involved. So again, all of the tools that they're asking you to share are tools that your organization should already have, but if you don't have them yet, the aspirational goal of being Platinum Transparency badged be a good driving force to help you commit to getting your strategic plan in order. There is a recency requirement for your strategic plan. Like, you can't drop one in from 1999 and think it's going to fly. I can't remember if it's 3 or 5 years. I think it's 5 years recent, or within the past 5 years. Alternatively, if you don't have a formalized strategic plan, which you should, but if you don't, you're still going to have to be able to articulate what it is your organization is trying to do, what metrics for progress and stability and results, and then define your strategies for making this happen. Anybody have any questions on that? All right, so I'm gonna wrap with, not wrap entirely, we're not done exactly. A few of just quick little reminders, right? You have to do them in order. Start with bronze, work your way up. You have to update, I don't think I said this or shared this at all, but your information has to be updated at least once a year, otherwise your seal will expire. So once you've achieved a seal of transparency, they'll prompt you to update your information to make sure that you're still in compliance with the various fields that you have to fill out. And just some other requirements about how recent the data needs to be. All right. So I'm going to drop another nugget in the chat. This is a help link. So if you need any guides for how to claim your profile or earn seals of transparency, help.guidestar.org is there. So that's it. Like, super simple, basic information, but I think it's really, really important. I hope that now that you've seen the various ways that profiles can impact fundraising, I'm going to talk about it tremendously, right? Like, we don't know who goes here to look for information, but we never want to lose out on an opportunity because somebody did go to GuideStar to look for information, couldn't find you, or found erroneous information. Like that's just not, that would be bad. So I hope that now that you know a little bit about this, you'll figure out how to claim your profile, or if you already have it, update it, set some aspirational goals for those seals of transparency, incorporate them into your fundraising plan, maybe engage some volunteers or some other folks that work with you, and how to gather the information, how to present your organization online, and make it happen. There
I have
it is.
a question.
Hi, Dr. Julia.
How are you, Trish?
I'm well. How are you this morning?
I am peaceful and so grateful that the sun is shining in our city.
Yes.
So, question, I went to Candid and I went through the process of setting up for the nonprofit, and GuideStar's support system responded back and told me that the information that I submitted couldn't prove that I was a 501c3. And so I emailed them over the letter from the IRS as well. And then they responded back and they told me that anyone can come up with a letter and that that still doesn't prove that the nonprofit is the 501c3.
You sent your, you sent your IRS determination letter, that 6-page thing that comes from the feds, and they said this doesn't prove it?
So I only got one page. I didn't have 6 pages that came to me, Trish. It was only one page that was mailed from the IRS.
How about you share with me the information and I'll check with my GuideStar folks and see what they say, right? Like, because that doesn't sound like you got helpful feedback from them. But
Right.
maybe we can use this as a learning opportunity to find out what they do consider and don't consider legitimate IRS documentation.
Okay, cool. I will email that over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to get you up there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm sorry that was your experience. It shouldn't be hard. Does anybody want to share their GuideStar profile so folks can see how it looks? All right, Emily.
I'll stop sharing so Emily can share her screen.
Do you mind sharing your screen, Emily? All right. So you see here, this is the landing page. So super simple mission statement. Here's what we do. Also, great commercial for Arts and Scraps. If you have small people in your life that have a creative bone, or even without, this is a place that my kids super duper loved as little kids. They felt rich getting their $5 paper bag and going on a shopping spree throughout the creative buckets that are available at Arts and Scraps. So it gives the great opportunity to share where they serve, who they look to involve, information about their programs. So field trips, student workshops, events. If you click down on those, it's really lovely. Gives the opportunity for folks to see like more about Arts and Scraps. Scrap packs are super fun. Also really amazing birthday party takeaway for your little people. Oh, this is fun. I didn't realize this was part of it, Emily, the awards section. That's kind of a fun way to toot your own horn about different accolades that your organization has received. Just adds another layer of legitimacy, social proof that your organization is seen as investment ready in the community. That's really beautiful too, right? Having an external review, photos of your work, videos of your work, right? So you can see a lot of this information is going to be duplicative of what your website may already have. But the beauty is that in this particular system, it's searchable by a number of fields and it's all within one database so that funders, as they're looking to gain information, can access it all in one location. And now this information, what did you just drive by, Emily? Those fun looking bar graphs. Oh, our results. So that's a really detailed level of information that is not necessarily required for every organization, is it? Or is this was an optional field, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not actually the person who set this up, but ours is platinum already. So we've
Hey.
already been through all of this.
Amazing. So this is a really good example of an aspirational GuideStar candid profile. This is a lot of information. But again, the juice is worth the squeeze, right? Because you're going to have this information together already. This is really great.
Mm-hmm.
And then it exposes for organizations too, if you don't have certain information, it gives you an opportunity to build it into your strategic and operational plan for the upcoming year, right? If I don't collect specific information, why do we choose not to? What is the opportunity to start to collect it, and how will we use that moving forward? Thank you for sharing that. Education Reimagined.